If you're thinking about growing mushrooms, my answer to you would be do it. Mushroom growing is becoming a nationwide, actually a worldwide movement, and that's for a lot of reasons. Because while there might be a little bit of an initial investment in the setup, $50 to $200, after that, you will be able to grow way more mushrooms than you could ever possibly imagine for yourself and your friends and your loved ones. Additionally, access, of course, is the elephant in the room here. Psilocybin mushrooms are still federally illegal, although they're becoming increasingly decriminalized in a number of jurisdictions. And growing your own mushrooms just gives you access to your own food and medicine whenever you want. Thirdly, it's just a really magical experience. We have a mushroom growing course at DoubleBlind where we've enrolled thousands of students, and it's just incredible to watch people go from being a little bit intimidated by the process, not sure if they have the time or the space or the money or the green thumb, so to speak, and then, learning how to do it and watching that first mushroom pop out of the substrate and just lighting up with just joy and pride. It's an incredible thing to watch. So that being said, if you're thinking about growing mushrooms, I hope I convinced you to do it. And also, there's some things to consider. One of the biggest ones is, do you want to go with a mushroom grow kit, or do you want to set up your own grow? And there's pros and cons. If you're going to go with a mushroom grow kit, obviously it's easier because all the stuff gets sent to you other than the spores themselves. And so it's good. It's a lower barrier to entry. The cons being that you might not have the option to grow as many mushrooms depending on the grow kit. Some mushroom grow kits are just going to come with kind of what's called like pre-sterilized jars of grain, where you inoculate this grain or rice or whatever they're providing you with the spores, and then you fruit the spores directly from the substrate as opposed to kind of transferring the mycelium to larger bins and growing them that way. So it really kind of depends on what you're looking for. We also are big advocates at DoubleBlind of people, setting up their own grows, because it's really an opportunity to go deep into the mushroom growing process and to understand yourself how it works. That being said, there are a lot of great mushroom grow kits out there if you're intimidated by starting from scratch, and we're going to cover some of the pros and cons. Different kits include different types of gear, but all of them are going to come with a container that you're going to inoculate with your spores and some kind of substrate that is in the container. And the substrate, as mentioned before, is just the medium that the mycelium are growing in. The container is likely going to be a box, a bag, or a jar. One of the biggest issues with mushroom growing, especially for beginners, is that their grow gets contaminated. And so, again, pros and cons to getting a mushroom grow kit. If you're getting a mushroom grow kit from a place that you know is reliable, then it could decrease your chances of contamination because you're going to be getting substrate from them that is already sterilized. But if you end up getting a shoddy kit, you could end up purchasing some substrate that wasn't properly sterilized or somehow got contaminated in the transportation process from wherever it was made to your house. And you could end up, basically ruining your whole grow without realizing it, just because you had a contaminated substrate. Things that your mushroom grow kit will likely have include some kind of container or jar that's going to have a substrate in it where you can inoculate it with your spores and get your mycelium growing. Some kind of larger container or tub where you're likely going to be transferring your colonized mycelium. Some kind of bulk substrate, which is our second type of grow medium, sort of like your soil, which is going to be going in this larger tub, as well as different tools for making sure that your environment is sterile, such as alcohol swabs and latex gloves. If your grow kit doesn't come with those things, you want to make sure to buy those things separately, because as mentioned before, the greatest risk of failure for first-time mushroom growers, maybe for all mushroom growers, is contamination, and you want to make sure that your environment is extra clean. One thing to note is that there is a lot of disagreement in the mushroom growing community among mycologists about the best way to grow mushrooms. One of the points of disagreement is the bulk substrate. As a reminder, the bulk substrate is the second medium that you're going to be putting into a larger container after your mycelium have colonized that first container. So first you're inoculating like a bag or a jar, and then you're transferring that mycelium into a larger tub that has more ingredients in it. And again, that could include vermiculite, perlite, core, coffee grounds. There's so many different recipes out there. It's sort of like everybody thinks their grandma makes the best meatballs. Every mycologist thinks they have the best bulk substrate recipe. The beauty of growing your own mushrooms, as opposed to buying a mushroom grow kit, is that, you can take the time to explore different recipes and figure out what works best for you. You can even get really creative about what you already have in your environment. If you have some coffee in your pantry, or you have some vermiculite in your backyard because you've been doing some gardening recently. Whatever it is, if you even eggshells, you can experiment, you can play around with it, you can figure out what works best for you. On the flip side, of course, you might not be at that point where you're wanting to experiment and explore. You might want someone to be telling you, this is how you should give it a try. So in that case, maybe you want to go with a mushroom grow kit that's going to just send you perlite, or just send you, whatever they've decided is the best bulk substrate. Our favorite mushroom grow kits include Midwest Grow Kits, Virginou, and Maximum Store. Midwest Grow Kits in particular is a company that has been around for a long time, that people really, really trust and love in the mushroom growing community. Something else you might even explore if you have kids or you're super busy and you want to try growing some edible mushrooms are these spray and grow kits that have become really popular, that are being sold by companies like North Spore, where a box arrives and you literally, there's a hole in the box and you spritz the box and the mushrooms just grow out of it. That could be a really fun, easy, low barrier to entry if you're not really looking to understand the process of how mushrooms grow. That being said, as mentioned before, at DoubleBlind, we really are big advocates of people learning how to grow mushrooms from scratch themselves, setting up their own grows, because it is such a rewarding experience, and in the end you're likely to have bigger and better yields, to save money, to save time, and just to feel more connected with your mushrooms. If that's something you're interested in doing, we would welcome you in our mushroom growing course. We have a team of mycologists who support people every step of the way in a live forum, holding their hand, answering their questions. Growing mushrooms can feel like an intimidating process in the beginning, but if you have live support and you have community and you have people helping you embark on this journey, it can make it so much more approachable, and in the end, it's incredibly rewarding. For more information on our mushroom growing course, or really anything pertaining to mushrooms, from mushroom dosage to agar plates to you name it, check us out at doubleblindmag.com. We are here to support you, we love you, and safe travels.